Hello, my name is Soundjip, and you're wondering if you should study music production in school. So, I'm going to try and answer your question in today's video. So, firstly, why might you be asking this question? Well, you might be someone that's just coming out of high school, wondering what you should do in college, or if you want to go to college or university. Or you're someone that's been studying music production a little bit and you're wondering if you should go to school, if you should take a course, if you should get a degree in music production, or if you're someone that's already at music production school and you're wondering, should I have done this? So I'm going to try and give you all an answer, and I'm going to start with the easiest one, which is the one that's going to school already and maybe reconsidering or wondering, is it actually the right thing for me? And the first thing that I want to point out is that if you don't think this is working for you, and if it really isn't advancing your skills, if it isn't actually making you improve your production, in my personal opinion, you shouldn't stay in that course, because you're basically just racking up needless debt and things for a course that you don't see as improving your life. I made this mistake personally, and I wouldn't recommend doing it for you. The second answer I would give, because it's a lot harder actually, would be the people that are considering going to music production school when they're already studying music production. I think it's kind of 50-50, because a lot of the people that would do that, I'd assume, have tried using the method where they try and self-teach themselves. They watch a few YouTube tutorials, and it isn't working out for them. I don't know if going for a full-on degree course is the best for you. The only thing I can say is that perhaps what in the UK is called an NC, it's kind of an entry level course for about a year, could be a good idea, or just a course for 6 months or something like that. I wouldn't recommend a full-on degree if you're already trying to teach yourself some things, because you might realise that teaching style doesn't work for you as well, and now you've got debt to deal with rather than just wasted time, which is just as bad. But at least with wasted time, you can never get that back. With debt, you can get the money back. However, if the teaching doesn't work, the school isn't good for you, you've lost time and you've lost money, so it's kind of a double whammy hit. So I'd recommend going for a smaller course, in my opinion. For the person coming just out of high school, maybe you're an amateur producer, maybe you're not, maybe you've wanted to always make music, maybe you've got involved in the audio department in school, which I did. I say audio department, I took an audio subject in school, I didn't get involved with the department. But let's just say you've done that, okay? And you're a musician possibly, or maybe you're not, doesn't matter, right? The point is you're interested in this stuff. It's a difficult one. I'd recommend trying to teach yourself some things first. You've got an entire, well, it depends how your system works, I suppose, but we're assuming here you've got an entire summer vacation, or this is happening right now, where you've got a spring vacation. We don't have those here, and I've been way too Americanized. But yeah, you've got a spring vacation or whatever, and you're kind of thinking, should I go and study a course? Should I go and do a degree in music production or sound production or audio engineering, or should I do it? Should I go and do that? And it's a hard question, because it's your passion, right? It's what you care about, clearly. But you might be thinking about the logistics of things. Can I get a job with that degree? Probably not. Well, I mean, like a general 9-to-5 job, most likely not. Can I make money from that degree? You can make money from the skills that you get, yeah. Is it worth it? College is expensive. Should I take out a loan, which might take my entire life to pay off for that kind of course? Oh man, that's really difficult. And I'm struggling to figure out what to do, because the logistics are in conflict with my want to go and learn this stuff. Well, firstly, because you've still got some time, if you're watching this video now, or if you're watching this video before you put in any applications or anything, you can always cancel applications as well. But what I'd recommend you do, if you're already producing music, have faith in your own process that you can teach yourself the skills that you need to do, right? Courses are actually really good in the fact that you get a lot of information very, very quickly, and it's a lot more it's a lot more structured than your typical, how do I use a compressor? YouTube, how do I use reverb? YouTube, how does this compressor work? How does the DAW work? How do I use my DAW? Right, you basically get taught that, you know. When I took my course, I got taught how to use Ableton Live and Pro Tools, and I still use Ableton Live. I don't use Pro Tools anymore. Pro Tools I don't personally like it. I get that it's useful, but it's not my thing. Yeah, but my main DAW is Mixcraft. I got taught that at school, yes, but I learned most of the ways I use it just from basically trial and error, just from studying, just from really being passionate about this stuff, which you are too, if you're watching this video. So I think it comes down to, is it worth it to be taught in this very structured way and get everything maybe a little bit faster than I would by researching it? Now, when it comes to a degree, things are going to be different because you're going to get taught a lot more hardware. You're going to get access to equipment that you will probably never get access to again in your entire life, unless you're a studio producer, right? Or you have a ridiculous amount of money. So, you know, there are pros and cons to not going, and there are pros and cons to going, right? But I think it comes down to what you should ask yourself is, if it's a career, I wouldn't recommend going to school just because it's a career, right? Because it's really not. It's mostly a freelance career, unless you go into something like sound design is a good thing to keep in mind, or sound design is a great example, where if you want to work for a company like Rockstar over here, or a media company, right? Cool. Those are careers, right? But even then, you can get those careers by making a really, really good portfolio, by learning the skills from home, right? Rather than having to go into a class and things like that. Now, I'm not trying to dog on school or music production school or school in general. What I'm saying is that there are clear pros and cons to it. And I think if you're just coming out of high school and you're really, really concerned about the logistics, the monetary stuff, which I wasn't, and that was a big mistake on my part, I'd recommend that you maybe lay off on production school for a while, maybe for that year, that academic year possibly, and just see what you can learn on your own, because from my experience, this is just my experience, I learned a lot of my music production stuff on my own. I was mostly a composer and a producer before I went to that course that I went to, which was an audio production course, but it had music production involved, and the skills that I learned are incredibly useful, but they're not useful in my niche, right? That's what I learned. If you want a career in music production, which I don't have, by the way, I'm not a professional music producer, I'm at most a semi-professional music producer, but if you want a career in music production, you have to have a niche. My niche is ambient, and my niche is ambient lo-fi music, right? But you might not get taught how to expand your niche. You'll get taught the core skills, right, of how to use a DAW, but you don't know if that DAW is going to be for you, right? If you're taught how to use Pro Tools or Ableton or even Mixcraft, right, if you're taught how to use those, but you don't like them, it doesn't fit your work style, no amount of teaching is going to fix that, right? That's the way I kind of see it. So which is why I recommend, can you try and do the most that you can to teach yourself? Maybe in this break, maybe during this year, you get a summer job or something like that, who knows? And you see how you go. After that, if you've not made much progress, and if you really want to do this, I'd recommend, go to school for it, right? If you can really see a path forward where this becomes your career, or this becomes one of the most important skills you ever learn, I recommend going for it. But it's a tough one, and is school worth it now in 2024? You can learn all this stuff online. Well, depends on the person, right? Like, I can't go and say school is not worth it for every single person that wants to do music production, right? I can say that school is not useful for the people that are trying to work in my niche of music production, but my niche is very, very small, and I'm not a professional. so I've not really got the best advice that I could give, I suppose, when it comes to my niche personally. But just in general, from my experience, I'd recommend that you maybe hold off for now, or maybe you go to the course for the first 3 months and you really focus. You don't just stay because, oh, I said I was going to do it. If it isn't going to work for you, you pull out, right? You pull out, you save yourself some money, you save yourself a lot of time, and you put that time that you save into becoming the best music producer that you can, using your workflow and doing it in your way, rather than trying to conform to a system that isn't working for you. That's the way I see it. And if that's how you're feeling just now, I'd recommend that you drop out. I'm honest about that, because I didn't, and I made a lot of mistakes because I didn't. But of course, this might just be a video where I just basically talk about my regrets in music production school. But I don't want it to be like that. I want this video to be a message that, one, I can't give universal advice. No one can. And two, you have to trust your gut and your intuition. And I think the important part of music production school can be learned on your own, but it depends how you learn. So for me, I learn very independently. I like to do things on my own. I like to research on my own. I like to pick up new skills on my own, right? I'm not that great when I'm taught something by someone else, if that makes any sense. But I'm good when I learn things on my own. I've forgotten what that's called, but it's a specific learning style where you learn by doing things. Most musicians, most producers will have that learning style, from what I can see. Kinesthetic, that's what it's called. And my point that I'm trying to make to you is that if that's your style, test out your learning style first. If it fits the college experience, I advise going for it. If it doesn't, I advise not doing it. If you're having a point where you don't feel like it's helping you, you drop out. If you feel like it is helping you, stay, right? That's fundamentally what I'm saying for this video. But I want to advise everyone that's making this decision, don't make it lightly, don't make it through impulse. Just give yourself time to think, and I hope this video has allowed yourself to brainstorm. Maybe just think, is this right for me, is this not? And if it's not, you can always learn another way. That's the way I see it. You're lucky that it's 2024. There's a video that I've made there why it's the best time in music in this year. So if you want to go and check that out, you can. But just know that you're in the best time to make music production, whether you go to, you're in the best time period to make music, whether you go to school or not. So I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.